So I don't know where this expression came from, but in Japan, when you're told by somebody, your social window is open, that simply means the zipper of your pants is down. So it's very embarrassing. So I like to talk about a different kind of window today. Hope you like that. And that window is the window to the amazing world of open education. So what enables us to open this particular window is the power of networks. And as you know, this is the century of networks. And it was deeply felt in that way in education in 2001. Coincidentally, it was the first year of this 21st century. And as many of you recall, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, launched OpenCourseware in that year. So it was quite shocking because this is one of the most prestigious universities in the world announced they were going to publish all the educational materials of their over 2,000 courses and put them online, make them freely available to the entire world. And so many of us thought, well, this is crazy. You know, why they have to do this, right? But it's sooner or later, people started understanding, well, this is really one of the most promising ways to exercise the power of networks for education, to advance education. So I was actually around that time, I was working for the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, which was located in Silicon Valley in California. And I already started working with my colleagues, something related to open education. So of course, I decided to jump on that bandwagon. And with the wonderful, nearly 40 colleagues around the world who were thought to be the leaders of open education, we worked on this book project called Opening Up Education. And of course, I don't have time to talk about this book, but this is available freely, and you can download it from MIT Press website, so please do so if you're interested, using Creative Commons, of course. And in that book, when I started this project, I came up with these three components of open education as a framework. And the first one was open technology. And that includes these tools and the platform that support teaching and learning. And the second component was called open content. So virtually all kinds of open education resources, you name, lecture notes, videos, slides, and so on, everything. And what my colleague and I at the Carnegie Foundation were working on was this open knowledge part, which is, so there is accumulated wealth of some good know-hows, some knowledge in good teaching and learning. How we can make this kind of very precious knowledge share visible and shareable using technology and network. So these three components. And over the last 10 years or so, there have been numerous some projects that have been creating a lot of tools and resources, tens of thousands of tools and resources for education. And most of them are freely available these days. So it's very exciting what we together accomplished over the last 10 years. But just over the last couple of years, we've seen there may be the fourth component emerging, which can be called open practice. And probably one of the most exciting example of this open practice is called MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses. And a group like edX has been developing some platform for this MOOC. And so the others, the Coursera, Udacity, and there's a few more global ones. But through these MOOC platforms, there's hundreds of instructors, educators from over 100, 200 of universities actually delivering online courses. And you can take any of these courses, the course from Harvard, course from MIT, Stanford, Kyoto University, anywhere. And the best part is what's different between this and like a formal open courseware kind of open education is you can actually, once you are successful in completing one of these courses, you can get certificate. So which actually shows people what you accomplished in your learning, through that particular course. So that's really wonderful. And again, there's an increasing number of these open online courses. So where are we going, with this exciting, accelerating openness in education? So first, it is providing massive access. Massive access means now education, high quality education, is reaching out to millions of people, hopefully billions soon, of people through open education. And the second part is, of course, something like Wikipedia is a great example, but collectiveness. So together, we can build more and faster in education. So that's a collectivity. And then, of course, flexibility is a real key here. Now, anyone can learn anything, anytime, anywhere. And of course, this is really the big one, personalization. So that means even learning the same thing, usually you didn't have options. You have to go to your class, have to bear, with your teacher there. That's the only option you have. Maybe you can buy a book. But now, with this growing open education, you have a choice. Even learning the same thing, you can take something, from there or here. So it's in different methods, different speed, and different modes. So, you can learn in many different ways. And then, through all these things, we can collect what we call big data. When, you learn what, in what way, was that successful, did it need some improvement, everything. So we can accumulate. So imagine, we getting data from billions of people here, and to help continuously improve education. So to sum up here, using big data to support better personalized learning for each of us. So that's where we're going, with open education. So you might ask, well, that sounds great, but why do we need to do this? Because, well, there's many reasons, but one big one is learning and teaching is very complex. How complex it is. So there are learners and teachers, instructors, and they're usually educational resources and tools. And there's a pedagogy, how to learn, how to teach. And imagine all these elements, interactively corresponding to each other here. And this is what we call education. And also, there's always a context of learning and teaching. And of course, as you all know, the world is increasingly becoming more complex. So that's a part of the context, right? So with the abundance of open educational tools, resources, knowledge, and practice, now we have 4 components. We believe open education can be the next generation socio-educational platform. So imagine, so we're making this up, amateur academy here. What is it? So amateur academy is a global learning community where everybody can learn from each other and teach to each other too. So the most important aspect of this community is there is no distinction between teachers and learners. Everybody can teach and everybody can learn. You probably want to learn to teach. So that's the key. And I'm pleased to share this because you might think, well, Japan is kind of behind in this area. No, I would say. Well, maybe yes, but we're catching up. So about 30 days ago, this place in Kyoto, with my colleagues, I held this wonderful conference on open education called GOEN, G-O-E-N. That stands for Global Open Education Network. And over 100 of young people, and some not so young people like me, got together, sharing their excitement, what we're working on in open education. And also, most importantly, how we could collaborate towards building the future of education here, building on open education. And probably some of you have heard this. Tim Brown at IDEO from Silicon Valley came up with this idea of T-shaped person. So what this T-shape means is, so it's a vertical bar which represents domain expertise and skills. At the same time, this horizontal bar represents multiple perspectives and communication skills. So if you're an expert, you have to develop this way to communicate with people from different areas. So that's the point. But with open education, we could further expand this idea here. For example, you can further extend this horizontal bar. So you could further develop your communication skills, kind of multidisciplinary communication skills here. But also, more importantly, you could start building different kinds of expertise and skills, taking advantage of open education. So it's not T-shape anymore. I'm ruining T-shape here. And we can imagine, so people like this start connecting with each other and building the network of not just learning, but also working here. So this brings us to this seamless integration of working and learning in the openly networked society. So I'd like to conclude my presentation this way. John Dewey, the famous scholar, philosopher, about 100 years ago, so at the time, of course, without digital videos, computers, internet, he said this: if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. Very deep. We can still learn from this. But I decided to twist this a little bit because there has been paradigm shift from teaching to learning. And so I came up with something like this. If we learn today, as we learned yesterday, we rob ourselves of tomorrow. And that's why open education is so important to all of us. So I would like to say open education is not just the evolutions of education systems, but it is indeed the evolution of ourselves and our society. We must have one. So hope you all join this wonderful journey of open education. Thank you.